Hello there, everyone. Welcome to the World of Momos podcast. And on today's episode, I want to share my thoughts about what's happened in the elections, actually, the election aftermath, and also something that I've been involved with for a while now, a cultural movement to reawaken Britain. So I just wanted to share my thoughts. So, as you might have seen, and if you haven't seen, the link should be up here somewhere. My episode with Paul Golding, where we're talking about what's happening in the recent elections and what our thoughts are about the recent elections. So, I just want to summarize over here as well. So, there's a comprehensive view of my own as well. So, what do I think? What do I think? Well, I said before, and sort of my predictions, somewhat of them came a bit true, that Reform will only win 8 seats. I said, well, they won 5 seats, so I was close enough. I said Independence would win more, and they did, and amazingly enough, like weirdly enough or oddly enough, but not surprising to be honest, a lot more of the Muslim independent votes candidates won their seats than I thought they would, and more the things so they're more than Reform Party candidates. I did say Liberal Democrats will double their numbers, but they more than doubled it. The reason why I said that because it seemed pretty clear that people, the disgruntled conservative seats were more likely to go to Liberal Democrats than to Reform Party because of where they were being contested. Liberal Democrats are a bit clever about that. They have their groundwork, no matter how much I disagree with them, and they do their local action. And Reform Party was there in 98 seats. They came second. So if they actually did some local work, they could have won those seats as well. But they didn't do much of the local work as it seemed. Labour Party, well, it's not like they've won seats. It's just it fell to them because the conservative vote was divided anyways, and their numbers came out as they usually do, but they have a majority now. And the good news was actually Scotland SNP losing big time. That was actually really good news. And yeah, let's see. Yeah, Labour vote share in Scotland went up by 17 points. SNP lost 500,000 votes than before. Lib Dems won 10.5% of seats with 9.7% of votes. And it just goes to show that there's a lot more changes going on over there as well, which was good. I was hoping for something like that to happen for SNP to start losing its power. It's their own fault. And in Tories overall lost a lot of seats as was expected, and as well, they deserved it. They deserved that. There's no two ways about it. So, hmm. So where does that lead us? Well, it leads us probably mostly like we were before. It was pointless. Like I said, like these elections are pretty much pointless. Is the next election that we should be more worried about. We're going to have a lot of problem with Labour right now because Labour has got a majority, and they will try to push their laws. I think so. They might know. They probably know that they might not get in 2029 because of one simple factor, and one simple factor that defines everything. Only 54% of the people came out to vote. Only 54% of the people who could vote come out to vote, right? What does that show? That also shows that people didn't really buy into the reforms campaign. uh, that's how much people are dejected. The conservative voters just didn't come out to vote in numbers, and people, well, and when people say about proportional representation, this is my problem with it. Like, you can't have proportional representation if most of the people are not voting. If proportional representation, something like voting must be mandatory, or it's some, like, at some level it should be at least considered a valid vote, or valid election if at least 80% of people have come out to vote. But either way, that's what has happened now, right? And the idea the idea that people already had before. I know a lot of people were getting angry at me when I was telling them Reform Party is not what they think it is. It is not the savior, and there will be betrayal, and it seems to me that Farage has managed to hoodwink the cultural movement that was started by Tommy Robinson and other people around him on the 1st of June. They hoodwink some of the people, some of their supporters, and then they obviously betrayed them as they would. You can see this clip that I don't think so I can put this actually clip out. If you've listened to Farage's interview with Jordan Peterson, you can actually see his intention. He did this interview towards the end before the elections, and in there he clearly said like his intention is to merge into Tories. So if
What I'm doing here is putting a first big marker down. We are going to get millions of votes. We are going to get our first people elected. And I might remind people, just as happened to a party called Reform in Canada some years ago. Everyone said, oh, no, Reform will split the vote. Preston Manning's a right-wing nut job. All the same kind of criticisms. And in the end, Reform won. And as you know, Stephen Harper proved to be a very good Prime Minister in many ways of Canada, having first been elected as a Reform MP and then effectively doing a reverse takeover of the very tired and increasingly progressive Conservative Party. I am trying to do something very similar to what Reform did in Canada all those 30 years ago.
If that's what the Reform voters want, like, fair enough. If that's what you want, if you want Farage to take over the Tories and change the Tories and make them a bit right, and if you think that's the correct way of going forward, if you're not really that hateful of Tories and you just want Tories to become more right or more conservative as they're supposed to be, and you think that that is the best way of doing it, fair enough. Just be honest about it. But if that's not what your intentions were, I think so you need to review your support of that party now. And also, what really shocked me is the after election. Well, shocked me in a sense that it happened so quickly.
Ben Habib is a class act. Are we saying? I think there is a great danger here that somebody who has been a real bolster. I think bolster is the right word. A real bolster to Reform is out the door in favour of somebody who's just very rich.
Yes, I think that's 100% true. And I do believe that Ben has been treated absolutely abhorrently.
And is it Tice's fault?
I would say it is. I think he cuts to carry the can. I think Nigel has to carry the can on this as well. Because let's be honest, the decision wasn't just made by one of them. It was definitely made in a room. And it seems to have been made in a room conveniently while Ben Habib is on holiday.
The removal of Ben Habib as deputy leader. Now, you might say, oh, he's not an MP, that's why they did that. But it's just, it doesn't sit right with me in a way, because he was the only sort of proper credible person in there who was advocating for the Reform Party to be more democratic, right? To open its membership up in a way that its members can actually vote on policies and have more say on what goes on with the Reform Party. But it doesn't seem to be the case. It seems like, a gang. If you agree with the leader, then everything is fine. If you don't agree with him, you'll get booted out or whatever. If you try to take away his spotlight, then you might be kicked out or something, whatever the case might be. But that's not happened. Thais has become deputy, and this new guy I have no idea about, Zia Yusuf, has become the chairman of Reform. And I wonder, well, what so we are going to go back to that point of well, Islam is not the problem, Islamists are the problem, right? That mantra that we're going to keep on saying that, because when your chairman is a Muslim, that's the best that you can hope for anyways. So all we're going to do, if that narrative is picked up, or if Reform gets into Tories and in 2029 a Farage-led Tory wins the election, all we're going to get, all what we can hope for, is the delay of the inevitable proper clash with Islam within this country. It's because people just don't understand that mentality. They think that, oh, it's just the radicals. It's not. It's the religion is radical, and whenever people are going to go back to it, they are going to become radical regardless. But anyways, that aside, I think so. A lot of people did get hoodwinked. If I'm being honest, and I said go vote for them, not because I believed in them, but because, as I've said before, people needed some hope, and we needed something to break the duopoly. And I think so. There's a way has been shown, at least, whether for the good or for the bad, that it can be done. We just need to vote for the parties we believe in, support them in the long term, and they will come on top, eventually. So, but there's no need to continue on voting for someone, or supporting someone that you think is actually not going to, deliver what's needed, deliver the revival of British culture that is needed. It doesn't seem to me that way, to be honest. But anyways, that's what I think about the elections. I think so, people, it's okay to make mistakes, it's okay to admit mistakes. You don't have to double down, you don't have to start with the mantras of trying to justify you being fooled. And just before the elections, he appointed this guy anyways, and earmarked him as the leader, as a future leader of Reform Party. So it's just interesting where this is all going to go. But anyways, what else? So what else? Something more exciting, something a lot more exciting, is the cultural movement that is building up, that has been building up for a very, very long time, that I've been part of for a while as well, and grateful for Tommy Robinson to include me within the movement as well, along with others. On the 9th of July, I was lucky enough, after I went to the hospital in the morning for my scans. Some of you might have seen, like, it's all good, it's all going good still. um but I was able to be part of a group of people, a meeting of people. Some great people were there, brilliant thinkers. And there's something building up, that is actually going to save Britain, I feel. Because our solutions are not political, our solutions are more cultural first. So we need to build an environment, um, a cultural environment which we can build upon, and you know and then drive the political out of that cultural environment. So there were some great people. I met some great people over there. I met Katie Hopkins, really funny. I met Mayor Tusi, really interesting guy. Met Lawrence Fox, and other people, really important people, influential people, and we are doing something together. I hope a lot of you come on the 27th of July at Trafalgar Square, to show, or to give us support, and sort of to support one another, basically. Not give us support, to give yourself support. We're there to celebrate British culture, and we need to come together and celebrate the British culture, to be honest. And take some pride in this country, and stop letting others denigrate everything about this country. So that's what it's all about. That's where all the good people, or good hearted people, good faith people, are trying to come together and work together for the benefit of all. Because these politicians, by the end of the day, they don't really care about us. The politicians that do care about us, they don't get the, they don't get the limelight, they don't get the support of the investors within the political party, or the political leaders, because that's not the aim of politics anymore. The aim of politics is not to help the people anymore, it's to help the political parties. So people like Ben Habib will get sidelined eventually. People like Andrew Brigham, were marred by certain things. People like Miriam Coates lost their seats and stuff like that. These are people who actually care about us. So within politics, but we won't be able to give them the support till we build a culture where we reignite and revive and reclaim the lost soul of this country. So that's the aim of this cultural movement, that I'm grateful and I'm lucky to be a part of. There's so many people coming together, and there's so many more people that will keep on coming, and more people will join us, hopefully, along with every one of you, and we will hopefully be able to do something. Yeah, and it's that is what gives me hope, not the elections, not the politics and stuff, but people coming together, people realizing that they've been lied to about certain people in the media for a very, very long time, but having the capacity, having the balls to actually admit that they were hoodwinked, and maybe there's some truth to what this guy has been saying for so long now. I hope so. I hope we can do something, because talk is cheap. We can keep on talking, but that's not really going to help us. We need to do something. We need to start this a movement, a cultural movement, a civil rights movement, as Atherton would put it. It's something that wakes us up. This is an attack on our civil rights. This is an attack on our civil liberties. It's things that the British people have not asked for that are being enforced on us by a minority, by the ideas of a minority elite, the globalist elite. So that needs to be rejected, and that will only be rejected once we all come together. We have power. We have power if we band together. Our enemy is not big. Our enemy is not smarter. And our enemy is definitely not stronger. As long as we stand together, stand under one banner, and put our trust in something more than us, something higher than us, we will win. The good shall prevail. Thank you for listening.
So we're coming here today, what we're doing is we're building a people's movement in the UK like it's never been built before. It's going to be from all classes, all sections of society, and what it's about unifying people in the UK.
We've spoke about the importance and the need for a cultural movement in Great Britain built from the bottom up. On 1st of June we laid the foundations for that. What we need is a vision, we need an ideology that everyone can agree on. Today we've had a meeting of some of the most influential people in Great Britain with the largest followers in Great Britain, not just Great Britain actually, from Europe as well, to discuss how we build that. What does that movement do?
This is about the future of the UK, and it's probably the last chance we'll get in order to try and get the semblance of, UK unity and a semblance of our heritage and keeping our country going as it is.
We gathered today to just talk about, what the movement is about and what we're going to do about within the movement, how we're going to encourage people to join the movement and also voice the concerns of the people, and basically start giving voice to the voiceless, and how do we articulate that.
This isn't a Tommy Robinson movement. This is a movement for everyone, supported by all these people that have met up today. That's the idea. And many other influential people on TikTok, on social media, on Instagram, who agree that we need to protect Great Britain and protect its culture. This country's in danger, yeah? And we can't rely on the politicians to solve it, because they're not gonna, yeah? This has to come from the streets up.
It's a grassroots movement we're talking about here. We want everyone involved so that they can all come together under one general umbrella of loving the UK and taking us forward and being part of a new movement which brings a new UK forward in friendship, partnership and all the rest of it without being divisive. And we must go forward. We've got to stop what's going on now.
We did something amazing on the 1st of June. Getting all those people, 30,000 people in Parliament Square. We're doing Trafalgar Square on the 27th of July, and I honestly think we could get 100,000 people. That's how big this is getting. So these are seeds of what we need to do, and this is all about taking our country back and saving our country, because our country's heading for disaster. It's heading for separation, it's heading for balkanisation, it's heading for fragmentation, and we want to do the opposite of that and bring everybody together in love and unity and make this thing work.
1st of June was our first date, 27th of July is our next one, and we're going to build momentum, and we're going to build a mass movement of people who are proud to be British, and we're going to force them in the establishment. We're going to put the fear of God into them, if I'm honest, with what we build. Yeah? I know we're going to be successful, because I know the British public are with us, so that's what today's been about. We've had a fabulous day, everyone's had a great input. We're going to go away now and write up what everyone's input has and put it back to everyone and come to an agreement. And then we're going to take over London, Trafalgar Square. We're going to fill the place. Let's go.